What's going on YouTube? It's Masters here with another one. So I decided on the video that I'm going to give a review slash spoilers. It's going to be Marvel's, you could kind of say, second newest film, but a continuation, Thor, Love and Thunder. I'm not really going to do the proper introduction that I would normally do for the previous videos, only because the movies came out for so long, and I kind of feel like it'll just be more of just like giving my personal take since it's been out by now and it did all these numbers, and it's a Marvel movie. Like let's be honest, it's a continuation of the MCU. So with no further ado, let's get right into it. So I thought the movie was kind of cool. I thought the movie was definitely interesting. Thor 1 was really good. 2 to me was kind of like a miss. 3 is kind of like a nice redemption where I wish 3 was more like 2 and this could have been 3. But Love and Thunder definitely was a good, like continuation. We haven't even seen, he would be like the actual first hero for the superhero genre to get a 4-part movie. We usually get the trilogies and then it's usually done, they're usually going to be with the Avengers or a team up. But this to me was kind of interesting, I think, just because, after seeing Thor Ragnarok and it did good, it got, good reviews and everything, I feel like Love and Thunder, had something there, and it was a good way to kind of give Thor more of a bigger push because everyone likes him, everyone likes the character and some of his like kookiness that comes with being a god. So I thought it was a good choice for them to continue the story. Also, just to kind of give like a little bit more of a different take on it, so to speak. Okay, so for people who haven't seen it, it's gonna be like a bit of a real different review just because it's been out and it did, numbers at the box office. So my personal take about the movie was it was good. It was way better than what I expected. To me, better than Ragnarok, only because I feel that Ragnarok definitely introduced, World War Hulk and had a lot of more action scenes, set pieces, introduced the Valkyrians. This is kind of coming off, post Infinity War, Tony Stark's dead, Thor's been with the Guardians, and he's kind of been traveling. So I felt like this, in the sense of the direction of storytelling, was good. Personally, the beginning scene, we see our villain, Christian Bale, pretty much going on a rampage because the gods have kind of like, in a sense, kind of like left his planet for dead. Whatever the situation is with his planet, we don't know too much about. We could tell that it's just him and his daughter, and she died in the honor of their god for their universe. And when he goes to this forest for food and he runs into the god's kind of just being amused and doesn't really care and says, well, if that's what you guys are supposed to do, I'm superior, you guys are inferior, you guys are supposed to praise me. And him revolting and him feeling some type of way, he wanted to stand up to him, but he couldn't. He's a god. This guy has, just more, holiness, divineness, whatever you want to call it, than him. But he did get the gift of, the sword that's like pretty much a god killer. So that's what kind of gives him the edge to go to different dimensions, different universes and worlds to slay these gods. And I felt like we never really seen that in Marvel, and for them to introduce that now was good because we've got a little bit of the taste of the space with Guardians of the Galaxy and Thanos. So this kind of is more of a space exploration / gods from every universe and dimension. So it's kind of like Space Odyssey meets like, I don't know, Clash of the Titans, so to speak. So I thought it was good on that end. And then we get to Thor and we see, since Thor's been with the Guardians, he's kind of been down and out, trying to find love and trying to, try to find what's going to have him keep going. Because he'll fight, but he wants to fight for the right things, I think, so to speak. And, it's not until like the God Slayers killing all these gods that he gets wind of it from one of his old comrades, Lady Sif, who tells him that, this guy's been, going across galaxies killing gods, and he knows about Asgardian is on Earth, so he's going to Earth, not knowing that, well, they're going to be okay because the King Valkyrie's there. So Thor goes to make sure that, his people are going to be safe. And lo and behold, it's kind of ironic, they kind of did the formula of the Mighty Thor comic making Jane Foster Thor because she's dying of cancer. Thor doesn't know that, so when he gets to Earth, you know, we kind of see him kind of being taken back. He sees Mjolnir, he's kind of like surprised to see that Mjolnir is fixed, and to see that he's out and about knocking out all these bad guys. And when he sees who catches Mjolnir, it's obviously someone in his outfit, but he just doesn't know who it is. And then he puts on his helmet, he's all armored up, and then when she takes off her mask and he finds out it's Jane, he's surprised. And I thought it was kind of cool because we know that in the comics, Jane Foster does wield Mjolnir and does become Thor, but we also know that she's dying of cancer. And I thought it was a pretty good take on that. Like, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in the comics it was to like help slow down her cancer, but if I'm not mistaken, maybe it was speeding up the acceleration. But needless to say, it was cool to see her still fighting the good fight. Even though she was sick, she still was able to be worthy of Thor. So, you know, she's doing all these kind of cool techniques and moves that we've never seen Odin's son even do, that she's doing. And she's handling it pretty well. She's got a few, you know, bumps in the road, obstacles ahead of her, but we see that she's doing a really good job getting Thor. You know, what was funny to me was when he found out it was Jane Foster, we kind of fast forward because Grog's trying to, you know, put the pieces to the puzzle himself as well. And we kind of get like flashbacks of when they were together and, you know, their relationship and how it was good, but then like all good things, it came to an end. And we got to actually see the breakup. You know, Thor being busy saving the world with Avengers stuff, and her being busy being a scientist. I thought was pretty interesting because even though they're both saving the world in different ways, they couldn't even come to an agreement of like keeping a relationship. It kind of like distanced them apart, and it really put Thor in the perspective of just fighting, and still being like a downer, still trying to like find his way, and still trying to like have, I guess you could say have peace, but not really have peace. It was like he was empty, you know? So, for some time, you know, he just kind of he winged it. But I think when he saw Jane Foster, it kind of brought him back, brought him some good times, good vibes with her. And we see now Christian Bale's character coming into Earth and obviously fighting Thor and seeing that those are guys willing to kill Thor, but he couldn't. So instead he kidnaps all the children of New Asgard, and that way he'll have Thor come and follow him and fight him. And I thought he was going to probably just kidnap them and take them onto Earth. So we don't really get to see too much fighting on Earth, just that one scene, and then it's back to the galaxy, back to this, you know, space in this case. So yeah, it was definitely interesting because then Thor figures, okay, it's Grog, Valkyrie, and Mighty Thor, Jane Foster. We need an army because this guy has a sword that could pretty much, it looked like it could pull shadows. It was kind of weird, but you strike it down on the ground and was able to pull shadows. So they knew they were going to be outmatched just because of the sheer power that this thing could produce a whole army, and there are only 4 people deep. So he goes to the gods, and we actually get a mention of Hercules, one of Marvel's, you know, big time characters. I think he was the new champions or so, but he makes mention of Zeus and Hercules, and he pretty much goes to like pretty much a planet or like a castle or some type of hold where all the gods would meet and would, you know, do their meetings and just meet, just, you know, and function. And he goes there, and we learn about now that there's different hierarchy of godhood. You know, you have the lower gods, and then you have like the supreme gods. And I guess Zeus and some of these other ones were more of the supreme gods. And what Christian Bale was showing was more of the lower tier gods, not really much of a threat. Even though they knew what was going on and they were aware of what this guy had could kill them, they still weren't phased. They felt more like he couldn't get there where they're at. So they weren't really worried, but they were worried, but they didn't want to show, Zeus didn't want to show fear of panic once they got to pretty much Zeus's palace, you could say. I thought what was really cool was how Thor's like, well, I'm inspired by Zeus. He's the god of lightning and I'm the god of thunder. So it's kind of like they go hand in hand, which was pretty okay. But the relationship with Jane Foster and Thor throughout the whole movie was very, 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 felt like they were just catching up, just because Thor's been on the road in space, Jane Foster's been here on Earth, and now that she wields the power of Mjolnir and she's Thor, she has a lot of like good heroic attributes about her. She's pretty much like her comic book counterpart, ripped out the pages and brought to in real life. I felt like she did a really good interpretation with the character. So when we see them at Zeus and they're having this conversation, it was almost kind of like, it felt like very flirtatious, just talking about certain things and mentioning certain things that's like kind of like key of them breaking up without saying this is how they broke up, just little subtle hints, subtleties, I mean. So, what I thought was kind of funny was she asked him if he had a girlfriend, if he was seeing anyone. He was like, no, not seeing anyone, just kind of been busy working. But he didn't ask her if she's seeing anyone. So it was kind of just like a weird situation of just like people would do in the real world, like you see someone and they ask you if you're seeing anyone and you're like, no, and then you're kind of shy to ask them if they're seeing anyone back. So you just kind of leave it alone because you're so shy, you don't know what to say, you're at a loss for words. So, I thought that was a little nice tidbit that they did because it led through the whole movie from when Thor found out it was her all the way up into the end, which I thought was interesting. But going back to Zeus in his palace, a lot of people really, really love Zeus, and I thought we were going to see Hercules there, but we didn't get to see Hercules. There was a few, other Easter eggs, and a few, things out of the comic book. I'm pretty sure more people who are into the Thor mythology in the book line would probably know. So I'm pretty sure, it's Marvel. They always keep Easter eggs, keep us on our toes, and keep us, coming back for more. Were there, but I was really expecting to see Hercules, but he didn't show up. It was just Zeus. So when that happened, okay, sorry about that. It's been raining crazy in Florida. It was just a whole bunch of noise. So back to what I remember the most. Yeah, just seeing that Hercules wasn't going to be there, and none of his group team comrades weren't going to be there kind of sucked because I have the comic of Hercules, and Hercules is kind of cool. I'll say that he's kind of cool. I like the idea of Hercules, but him not being in the MCU or being shown was kind of a letdown. But anything can happen from Phase 5 or Phase 6 if they want to bring him in. But we get Zeus, and we get this grandiose sort of Zeus, and Thor's kind of surprised to see him, and then it really gave me the impression like, don't always feature heroes because they could be, pricks. We see Zeus, we got all the women and people praise him. He's doing all this crazy stuff with the lightning bolt, putting on a good show. And Thor tells him that there's this guy killing people with the, obviously with the necromancer sword, and he knows about it, and he's like, we're worried, but we don't want to put people in panic. It kind of was like, so you're not really going to help them fight. And him declining it and him not caring about the world and their problems because it's not at their doorstep, it's at every other section of the universe's doorstep. It really put Thor in a situation where it's like, well, you guys are not really heroes or gods. You guys are just, you guys just don't really care. And it kind of gave that whole cliche of like, like the gods could do whatever they want to do. So when it comes to orgies and parties, that's to them a little bit more comical, a little bit more better than protecting people's lives or whatever the case may be, because it's always going to have to be an everyday thing, and they have like, lesser gods and heroes for that job. So seeing Thor kind of, in a way, stand up to him, and then Valkyrie come in with the plan because she knew they weren't going to help them on their journey. They knew that if they took the lightning bolt, they would definitely stand a chance. And I thought that, seeing Thor take out some of Zeus's guys and seeing, even Mighty Thor and Valkyrie and even Grog taking out a lot of these guys was really cool. But we get like somewhat of a death. We see Zeus actually use his lightning rod and kind of deteriorates Grog's body. Well, now at first I thought he had died, but when we found out he still had his face intact, it was kind of like, okay, so he's not dead, but he's just kind of like, they kind of made him like a group, but not really a group, you know, um, just just because, you know. And then we see Thor actually step up to Zeus, and Zeus pretty much throws a lightning bolt at Thor. Thor catches it. I thought that was cool, and then the fact that he, you know, charged it up with his thunder and then zapped it in Zeus, and pretty much put a lightning bolt in his chest like if he was the Flash. I thought that was cool. I thought that was really cool. So now I'm kind of like seeing that. I kind of wonder like if this would be a way to introduce Hercules, because Zeus will be his father, and he may want to take revenge on the person who killed his father, knowing that it's Thor, knowing that he's from Earth. Hercules may come and wanting to fight Thor. So maybe that's something they can write in, or maybe down the way he comes to Earth, stumbles upon whoever, and then figures out, okay, Thor is the one who killed, my dad, or whatever the case is. But I feel like it's a nice setup that could lead to Hercules coming in, Overall, they had like a little nice space odyssey. Once they got the lightning bolt, I thought that, just seeing them coming together, and them still trying to figure out how they're going to stop this guy, because, this sword is like pretty OP. Was definitely good, and once again, I like how Marvel still sticks with the formula. Like, why not call the Avengers? And because they could be doing this, they could be doing that, they could be regrouping, they could be doing a whole lot of things. So they kind of needed the people in arm's reach, which to me personally would be good, because how would you have that combatant? Like, I mean, Captain America pretty much is old, put down the shield. I mean, Bucky's not really going to go over there, and Falcon, I don't even think, particularly at that particular time period, was donning the shield. Spider-Man's still a kid. Tony Stark's dead. Hulk is a mentor. Like the new Avengers, the Avengers that we know are pretty much there, but they're not there, So it would just you would have to wait for like the new Age of Avengers to come and bring that in. So, we get to pretty much this world called the Shadow Realm. It reminded me of Yu-Gi-Oh! with the word Shadow Realm, and I guess that's where Christian Bale's character took the kids. And seeing that it's going to be like, that could be our last fight together. Or not really last fight, but anything could happen. This is, the final destination to get this guy to rescue the kids, bring them back to Earth, and, have them, with their parents. I thought it was, going to be okay. Either Jade's going to die or Thor's going to die. And I wasn't really too sure on how it's going to play, But once we got there to the Shadow Realm, and they're figuring out, where are the kids, and pretty much like getting an idea of what it is that he's trying to do. We see that he wants to use this, pretty much make a wish. They have like, it's like something of eternity, I think, and it grants wishes, like a wishing well, So seeing that, they kind of figured, well, he might wish for all the gods to die because his daughter died, praising a god's name and honor. And when they get to pretty much the planet, or the Shadow Realm, or the planet, the kids, where they were captive, all the Asgardian kids are gone. And I thought, like, okay, he's hiding them out, trying to bait them, and then maybe use them to kind of like, use them as like bait. But we see that he has them somewhere else. And then when Jade Foster knows that he needs a certain like item or power to open up for him to make this wish, it was Thor's axe. I kind of figured like, wow, that's pretty clever. I thought it was going to be like a key that maybe they'd have to go to the ends of Earth and find, or maybe it's something that, this person can unlock if he's there. But really, it was just Stormbreaker. So, we get to the fight scene, and this guy's still overpowered because, I think the sword to me works as like, it works in the dark. It works when there's no light. There has to be like shade or some kind of, less light, for it to work and to summon these monsters from the shadows and come to your aid, because a lot of the stuff that he was doing that he was so overpowered was always in the dark. So it made sense why he was so overpowered. Because come to think about it, they never fought him in sunlight, like not even once, And I knew at some point in time maybe they could trick him into fighting him back on Earth when the sun is up, or fighting him somewhere where there's light. But that's not the case. He doesn't. It's pretty much a handicap match. It's 3-on-1. He's taking our warriors out, and I don't know, man. I was really hoping for them to get the big win, but when Valkyrian gets stabbed, I kind of knew like, okay, two things are gonna happen. Mighty Thor and Thor, Odin's son, are gonna team up and take this guy down, or maybe it's just gonna be Thor by himself, because we kind of seen that play kind of repetitively. But when Jade is weak and Valkyrian is injured and they're being sent home with Stormbreaker, he takes Stormbreaker, and then Thor knows he has to get Stormbreaker back, and he still has to rescue the kids. He was going to do it on his own. Jade, obviously, the cancer was taking her over, was killing her, because while she will Mjolnir, I'm sorry, it kind of put her fighting cells on hold, and they weren't fighting the cancer. It was more so of just like those were dormant and the cancer was still spreading rapidly. So Thor was scared of losing her and didn't want her to pick up the hammer. But I think, so pretty much Jane is sitting there in the hospital, also recovering, trying to stabilize as well. I guess Thor's talking to the nurse about her situation, knowing that he found out that she has cancer and that it's stage 4 and that it more than likely will kill her. And the fact that she's been wielding Mjolnir is going to kill her. But she does like the thrill of it. She does like the benefits that it comes with it, strength, health, stamina, and all that. But there is sort of a con to it, and it is killing her. Thor freaks out because he knows for a human, it's, she's all right, doing pretty good, but with her situation and her being sick, it's speeding up that process and slowly, killing her, and her cells don't have the fighting chance. So he tells her to pretty much to get better, focus on her fight with the cancer, and let him take on the villain, so to speak. And if she were to possess the power of Thor once again, that it may kill her. And with him kind of saying that, they get into somewhat of a disagreement about it, and it's kind of like set in stone. Thor's got this. He's going to handle the guy while everyone is, pretty much out of commission. Grog's out of commission, Valkyrian's injured, Jade, sick, and she's pretty much needs to be rested up for her battle. So Thor goes alone to rescue the children and to take this guy down, and in doing so, freeing as doing so, we see that he goes to pretty much, I guess you would say, back to the Shadow Realm, where Christian Bale's character happens to be trying to open up the doorway to get to pretty much the I think World of Eternity, Room of Eternity, or like a void, more or less, a wishing well. And the kids are still having their hopes in Thor coming to rescue them, and pretty much being the hero that he is, take out the bad guy and save the day. And in doing so, he does that. He comes in, dramatic entrance, of course. And he tells the kids that, pretty much, you guys, are Asgardian. Doesn't matter if you're race, color, or creed. Today, you guys are Asgardians. and we're gonna fight because he has an army, we have an army. And I thought it was cool seeing Thor in that mentor role because to me personally, we don't really get like the big Avengers, there on the battlefield with whoever, trying to like give them that prep talk and kind of like lead them into battle. It felt very more reminiscent of Captain America doing that kind of thing, and I guess in a sense Thor paying a homage to that, and I guess you could say honoring that. And he pretty much then goes and does like a chant to give the people the power of Thor himself within the lightning rod, with Zeus's lightning rod that he took with him, because Stormbreaker's obviously in Christian Bale's clutches, and the lightning bolt's the only thing that he has, left, which I thought was kind of cool. So they're fighting this guy, and then Jade comes because she could sense Thor's in trouble. Mjolnir's there when she wakes up out of bed, and she knows this may be my last, fight and last time amongst the living. So let me go ahead and make it a good one. And with that being said, she goes over there, helps Thor pretty much take out Christian Bale's character. And in doing so, the battle gets very nasty, gets very aggressive, and you could say, stop him, beat him. It's kind of cool how they kind of do it. They know they have to destroy the sword in order to, to do it. And it was interesting to see Thor have the I guess you could say, the lightning bolt held a certain way for Jade to kind of smash the lightning rod. Not lightning rod, I'm sorry, the sword. For her to smash the necromancer sword. And with that being said, when she smashed into a million pieces, and I didn't know this, it's able to kind of regrow. Now we've seen that, and I kind of saw it in the beginning when Jade was able to use broken Mjolnir, because it was still, the hammer was restored, but it still had cracks and dents in it. And she was able to use it and fling it and hit everyone, but it would come back and reassemble. The sword did the same. But I guess what she did was, when she was bringing Mjolnir back, it took some of those pieces together, and her coming, with this ultimate lightning charge, smashing it all the way down, kind of, indicated that this woman knows what she's doing, So the sword was destroyed, and then at that point, Christian Bale character, he knew he only had a short time to live, and by then, while they were fighting, the door was open. He goes in, and I thought he was going to be stopped. I thought Thor was going to maybe convince him not to do it. Don't kill all the gods, because it felt more driven, like he was gonna go and wish all the gods were dead. Don't wish for all the gods, because we're not all bad, just those, But when he really sat and thought at that particular moment, and he knew of Christian Bale's character a little bit more, his origins and things of that nature, he knew, okay, he's going to bring back someone that he loves. And then he knew he had a daughter. So he knew that, if you bring her, like what would she do? What would she say? And stuff like that. I thought it was kind of interesting to see that dynamic, but at the same time, they were kind of like, well, if you were to bring her back, because they weren't going to stop him, He made it this far, they weren't going to stop him, which most heroes we often see would still try to stop them and let the dead rest. But he wanted to spend his last hours with Jade, knowing that they went to the place. She was out of her Thor armor and was back in regular hospital clothes, knowing that she didn't have much time left. And he saw Thor and how he cared for her, and it kind of tied back in with him and his daughter. So Jade said, you're gonna die. You're gonna bring back your daughter, but Thor will take care of your daughter. And I thought that was so cool because we don't really see a lot of villains be very emotional or be very like so caring in a way, because we've always seen the villain, they have an agenda, they have an interesting origin story, and then they kind of just that's like kind of like their motive. But in this case, seeing it, it's like, okay, this guy lost his daughter, the gods didn't help him, and now he's taking out his fear on all the gods, and he knows that there's like a wishing well, so to speak, so maybe he could use that to eradicate all the gods, because he was already corrupted and had hatred in his heart while wielding the sword, amplifying that. It was similar to him and Jay, and seeing him accept, okay, he's dying, his daughter's coming back, and someone needs to raise her. Who better than Thor? He knows Thor's a god, and he knows Thor has all the good intentions. So he knew at that split second, like, just please take care of her, and like look after her and kind of raise her. So that kind of gave Thor the motive that he's been wanting for a long time. So I thought that was really cool. I really thought that was impressive. We see then the daughter comes back, and she sees her dad one last time, and then he passes. Jade and Thor share a moment, and then share a kiss, and then she passes on too, which it sucked. She did one hell of a good job playing Mighty Thor. I will tell you that. She definitely did a good job. For what was going on, for her, you could say runtime, whatever the case is, her appearance as Thor, it was a good one. I really want to see the Thor more prevalent in the MCU, maybe in Secret Invasion or some type of multiverse crossover, like a what if scenario. She was definitely a Thor to really like go ahead and put on it, because I was really hoping for Beta Ray Bill, but Mighty Thor second best, straight up. So kind of fast forward maybe like a week or two, and we see everyone, like we're building, Jade has a big statue, the kids come back, everyone's safe and sound. We see actually, side note, so Grog's people, which I thought was interesting, they procreate interesting, like it's like, the males find another male, they hold hands, I think in a lava or like some type of hot atmosphere, and within a certain amount of days or hours, whatever, a baby's born through the lava. So then he finds his male, and I guess they're gonna go ahead and, breed, which I thought was pretty interesting. Valkyrion is, still being a king, still running New Asgard. Who else? Jade had passed, and we see Thor now having a purpose. He's pretty much a father-mom to Christian Bale's daughter, who possesses some pretty OP power, and in my opinion, but it's still yet to be explored. And we kind of see Thor kind of like giving her the ropes and teaching her things, life lessons and stuff like that. And it's almost kind of like the scenario was like very like parent, getting their son or their daughter ready for school, but in this case, school would be them saving the galaxy and her understanding the good guys, the bad guys, who do we really help out, and Thor kind of shedding some of his teachings that he's got from his parents while his upbringings. So I thought that was really cool, and then we end the scene with Thor and Christian Bale's daughter on a planet, pretty much going to, take out the bad guys and make sure that the good guys are good, since they couldn't defend themselves. We get to a nice jump scene of them jumping into battle and taking these guys out. I thought it was also interesting how now she wills Stormbreaker and he's back with Mjolnir. I thought that was a really, really nice touch. But overall, the movie was good. Personally, like I said, man, I feel like the second movie, I can't remember the title to save my life, but I feel like the second movie of Thor, was obviously a miss in my opinion. Ragnarok would have been a nice second movie. And I love Ragnarok so much, and I'm glad they did this because Ragnarok had so much great potential. I loved everything about Ragnarok, and I'm like, damn, it sucks that this is its third movie and we're not going to get a fourth. And having the fourth Thor movie just shows the endless imagination of possibilities that the MCU can do. Maybe Spider-Man may get a fourth movie, Captain America, Iron Man, the list goes on, you know, and I'm really glad that they took the chance to do that with Thor, just because, you know, it was a good movie, you know, like, we could really say, to me anyway, like, the trilogy would be the first movie, skip the second, Ragnarok's the second, Love and Thunder is the third, period, you know. But everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Everyone, you know, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. What can you say? But personally, for me, that would be the ultimate Thor trilogy. But the fourth one definitely did good, and I'm kind of interested to see how they could kind of play it off now, because, you know, he's kind of like now in a mentor role. I know Hawkeye. I haven't been keeping up with some of the Marvel properties in a long time, but I know that Hawkeye has, you know, a show and he's training someone. I think She-Hulk has kind of a mentor, Bruce Banner. So we're seeing a lot of these Avengers getting mentor roles. We see a lot of these Avengers training new, you could pretty much say Avengers or young Avengers. So go ahead and see it either at your local theater. Do is just watch the shows, watch the movies, get the news, and really, for us in the community, give our take to the viewers and, you know, get a conversation started. Maybe you never know who's listening, who's watching this, you know. So I think definitely give it a check if you haven't checked it out already. But that's gonna conclude my discussion with Thor, with Marvel's Thor, Love and Thunder. If you guys like the content I'm always putting up, please give it a like. That greatly helps the channel. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications, so when I go up, you guys will be the first ones to know. And also, if you guys like, go ahead and, you know, get a conversation started in the comment section down below. This is Clash Masters, and I'm going to be back with another one. Until then, you guys take care. Be safe out there.